Howdy guys, welcome back to Deal by Deal episode 17. The year is 2014, so 10 years ago. This is a Tysco style deal where we purchased a property using private money and we're able to fix it up and resell it on owner finance to make a nice spread both in equity and in interest over the years. So this was a mobile home on land. It's actually two different lots that came with this one, and so it was a really nice opportunity for us to get into something like this and make a nice profit on the easy Tysco style deals. So we found this property by driving for dollars. That's when you drive around and look for properties and send letters. But we were actually out looking at a couple other properties that day. Me and Scott of Tysco were looking for a project, and the other property or properties that we were looking at just weren't quite a good fit for what we wanted to do. And so we drove by and saw this sign. It was a for sale by owner sign, and we could see it was an older mobile home, and they were still living it at the time. So we gave them a call, and they said that they needed to sell it for cash. So they thought that they needed to sell it for cash because they had a loan on it, and they had bought it on owner finance several years ago. So the note that they owed on it was an owner finance note. They thought they had to pay it off, but that wasn't actually the case. And so the owner finance note was held by somebody who used to be in the real estate industry here but had moved. So several people knew of this person, but we couldn't actually get a good phone number for him. We're much better at tracking down phone numbers now, but he also had a pretty common name and had left halfway around the country. So we tried to get a hold of him so that we could actually assume the note, but we weren't able to. So instead of going through the process of assuming it, we just took the property subject to that note, which means that we just took it over without asking. And so after we closed the property, he actually found out and got a hold of us. And he was like, hey, why'd you do that? It's like, well, we tried to get a hold of you, but at the end of the day, you're getting a check, as agreed every month. So is there any problem? And he's like, no. It's like, all right then. So it worked out really well. There was no due on sales clause on that property. If there is, that could have been a potential challenge, but we knew that there wasn't. So we just went ahead and took the property subject to the existing note. Now the sellers thought they had to pay that note off, and they needed to sell it so that they could have a little bit extra cash that they were going to use as a down payment to purchase an upgrade house. They were moving up in the world and had a nice house picked out that they wanted to get, but they couldn't without getting out from under this debt and also getting the cash from that property, their equity. So I forgot exactly what they owed, but they ended up getting, I think, $5,000 or $10,000 down, and we just took over the rest of the mortgage from there. The property wasn't in as good a shape as when they bought it. I don't remember how long that they had owned it, but we purchased it from them on financing with through that existing note, and then we ended up fixing the property and turning around and selling it on owner finance. So I was actually able to broker them their new house also, so it's a side benefit unrelated to that property. I was able to help them get into another home and made a commission for the efforts there as well. So the property needed the usual, the flooring, the paint. They did have an issue with their well also, so we had to bring in a well expert to figure that out. It wasn't too expensive, but the well didn't actually work when we bought it. I think they were hauling water or something. So we got that all sorted out, came with the two lots, sold it to some folks that it was a young gentleman, and his mom bought it, just to put it in her name because she had more credit and income and stuff, and he lived there. And they made their payments for most of the last 10 years and did just pay that off. So we've been making money on that the entire time. After the purchase price and the rehab that we put into it, which wasn't too much, just mostly the well, carpet, some paint, and then of course labor. I think we're into it for about $40,000, and I think we sold it for like $80,000 or maybe $85,000. And of course, we made a spread on the interest that whole time too. So we made a pretty good deal, pretty typical Tysco style deal, and it just a really nice bread and butter type of making the payments for years and years and years. Another excellent opportunity for the buyer who probably didn't have a lot of credit or income to get into something and actually own it, even though it was in the mom's name. Pretty sure it's his house. I think he was making the payments on it, but either way, it's paid off now. So without being too old, this young guy has something that he actually owns that's going to go up in value. I know a lot of people don't think that mobile homes go up in value, but they definitely do in a lot of markets, especially here. But actually, the last several years have gone up all over the place, especially when they come with land and a well and stuff. They can offer creative financing terms. We've done a lot of Tysco deals over the years, and I guess the main takeaway from them, and this one in particular, is that there's deals all over the place. You can find them literally just driving around. It's not just finding them though, it's structuring them. So we knew how to structure this deal in a way that they thought that they had to sell the property for cash, and of course it's less valuable that way. So just by knowing how to solve problems and make it a win-win and structuring your deals right, you can make a pretty good amount of money for literally a decade or more by, mostly just by structuring the deal rather than, having to work so much to find a deal. You can create the deal by good structuring.
If you guys have any real estate needs whatsoever, please reach out. In the meantime,
please like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, and you can find me on any of these other places that you enjoy your content. So thanks very much. Really appreciate it.